Hello, my name is Diamond Eyes Sam, and I'd like to welcome you to the Doodle Talk podcast.
What's up, all you doodles and doodlers out there, you schemers and dreamers, and welcome back to another episode of Doodle Talk. This is episode 28. Come on in, have a seat, get comfy, and let's get this show on the road. A few things I want to start off with today. First of all, check it out. I got a new hat. Kind of 50-50 about this hat. If you get it. A few things to get into with housekeeping besides my hat and self-consciousness. One, before I jump into like stuff I've been doing, is we got amidst all the weird drama and shit that's going on. I mean, it's like social media companies just don't know how to stop fucking taking L's and like doing stupid shit. But like the CEO of Reddit has been doing some dumb shit where he's like raising the price. I don't know too much about this, but I was listening to the Waveform podcast earlier today, and I've seen a little bit about this online. The CEO of Reddit is jacking up the prices of basically it's like a price raise in the API calls. So like people who have third-party apps are going to have to start paying like an exorbitant amount of money in order to have an app. So like because the main Reddit app apparently just like sucks or is not that great, which is hilarious because it's like, I think Twitter had this problem too, where there was tons of third-party apps that were just like a better user experience for that app, which is just like, how is that even possible? If like, that should be like one of your number one goals, is like make a really awesome app that's native, like in-house in your company, and just like make sure that your user experience is great, because then you can control the ads and everything that people are seeing, and you won't be in a problem like this where like Reddit was, people were making third-party apps. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like somebody would go, instead of using Reddit, like the Reddit app on their phone, they would download a different app that would essentially like give them a better experience. It's like using Reddit but through a third party, right? So imagine just like a different layout, a different screen, a different like UI UX experience. And this Reddit had this, it's been like this for forever apparently. I'm not really huge with Reddit. Occasionally I normally am on my like desktop or anything. I never really browse Reddit on my phone or anything, so this really doesn't concern me. But I thought it was just funny because he's like was making these decisions, and then there's like huge backlash. Most of it is rightfully so. I think it's his company. If he wants to start making money from people just like essentially using their app, their company as the framework for their own third-party app. But most of the third-party app creators have said openly like, yeah, we wouldn't mind like paying Reddit money for allowing us to do this like they have for so long. But then of course, like most things, it's like Reddit makes the decision to do this and then it just blows up and it's crazy. And they're charging like 24 cents per 1,000 API calls. So like when people like something or comment or click a link, that's essentially, most of those things require using an API call where you're like calling back and forth between like the actual Reddit database and like their stuff. I'm talking way out of league here. I don't really know too much. I know what APIs are essentially, and then now I know like this kind of function with them a little bit more and how it pertains to Reddit. But without going on too far, right? Without going on too much. The Reddit's got some shit going on. Twitter has had the same problem where they just completely banned third-party apps, I believe. Elon's not really doing the best job at like making Twitter likable or making money at all, and like basically driving advertisements and companies away from wanting to advertise on the platform. So not really sure what he's doing. I don't really use Twitter either, so I don't have a very good view on either of these, but I just thought that's funny. It's just like fucking CEOs, man, and people who are just like so removed from community and like the people who actually use the things on just like a boots on the ground kind of everyday basis. Like, it's so funny watching them be like so out of touch and like so obviously just profit driven that they just like will say literally anything. I mean, this pretty much goes for like basically any CEO. But yeah, that's a different topic. The shining light in all of this, the whole reason I brought this up is, so this slipped by me. I didn't even realize it was a couple days ago. YouTube announced a new YouTube partner program requirements. So if you want to like basically, if you know, because you can't just like have 2 subscribers and start making money on YouTube. There are requirements, right? And what they were before, so they changed. It's even better now. So before, you had to have 1,000 subscribers, and you had to have more. I have it pulled up here. You had to have 1,000 subscribers and more than 4,000 public watch hours in the last 12 months. So essentially, you know, with 4,000 watch hours in your last year, and 1,000 subscribers. That was like essentially it. There's a few more little, you know, like qualifications and stuff, but they have changed it and made it even easier. So now it's going to be anyone with at least 500 subscribers can now apply for the monetization program, provided they have uploaded at least 3 public videos in the last 90 days with a minimum of 3,000 watch hours or 3 million short views. And I believe the short views before was like 9 million or 10. So significantly reduced the requirements of what you need in order to get into the partner program and like start making money, which is amazing for someone like me who is just kind of breaking into YouTube, still under like 200 subscribers, but we're getting there. But that's awesome because like I can hit 500 subscribers, you know, if with a little bit of luck, you know, anytime soon, you know, like within the next couple of months. I feel like I could definitely get there. And I've been looking, and I have I don't know how much, but I pay attention to like the watch hours and stuff, and I'm pretty sure I'm already on track to like making the required amount. So that's awesome. You know, if you're someone like me who is kind of like has changed the trajectory of what I do, you know, like to partly entail making content for YouTube and like focusing solely on YouTube. Like I have Instagram and YouTube, and I do other freelance work obviously, but as far as like just the pure like art side of things, it's YouTube and Instagram is more so like a place to show my work and try and direct people to YouTube. So for me, a lot of my eggs are in the YouTube basket. Not all of them, because I don't think that's a good idea. But this is awesome. So amidst the shitstorm of, you know, Reddit, people fucking blacking out subreddits and like essentially like striking, like doing a call to arms of like don't use Reddit, and the shitstorms that like Meta, Facebook, Twitter, all that shit, Instagram, YouTube's just like, yo, what's up? We're just gonna make it like even easier for people to be their own boss and like start making money, which is fucking awesome. Thank you, YouTube. YouTube's not perfect. They have a ton of issues and stuff, but another one of the companies that's doing some shit stuff recently is Twitch. Like, they're just, I don't know, man. It amazes me. It really does. It amazes me how some of these platforms and some of these companies will literally just like stab themselves, gut themselves, and just like let it all bleed out. Just, I don't even know. It's like Twitch is like losing money. If Amazon didn't own Twitch, they probably wouldn't exist at all in the past, like from a year or two ago. But what are you gonna do? Join YouTube, right? I guess that's the main message here. And since I don't know a ton of that kind of stuff, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm super excited about the new YouTuber partner program, YPP, the new requirements. Let's hope this is not a 5-month late April Fool's joke, and let's hope there's not any weird like underlying things that we just haven't realized yet. YouTube is pretty good about that stuff though, so I have some pretty high hopes, I'm not gonna lie. And let's get to 500 subscribers, guys. Come on. If you're watching this, you're probably already subscribed. 10 minutes in to a Doodle Talk, those are the real OGs. I'm tipping my hat to you right now. If you're listening to this, you know who you are. Unless you're like schizophrenic, then you don't know who you are. All right, so for my actual stuff that's been going on art-wise, by the time this comes out, I will have already released the new Pokemon What If video. Yay, on YouTube. Oh my god, I did it. Dude, this week was a roller coaster, and this is what the main topic I want to talk about today is, like, the power of forcing yourself into habitual work ethics and how it creates a domino effect of productivity. Because let me tell you, I had like at least 5 or 6 different times this week where I wanted to just fucking call it quits or like scale back what I was doing, and I didn't, and I pushed through. And honestly, I'm not clear yet. I'm not out of the woods. I still have a shit ton of like editing and some voiceovers and stuff to do after I record this today. But the hard part's over, man. I did my Zelda. So the next one, I did Gandalf What If Pokemon video last week, and I think that did pretty well. It was fun. Thanks for watching. If you haven't, go check out the full video on my YouTube. It's kind of just like I'm trying out the voiceover on top of time lapse kind of thing here, going over my process, talking about what I did. It's not a tutorial. It's not just me like step by step talking about everything. I'm trying to get better at like making it interesting and relating to what I'm talking about without just being like overbearing and explaining things as I'm doing them. So it's not like repeating myself, like telling you what I'm drawing kind of a thing, if that makes sense. And I'll let you see who the Pokemon was, but I had a few. I'll let you know who I was thinking of at first was Chansey, because I was like, oh, Zelda's kind of like a nurturing, like healing kind of person, so Chansey would be pretty good. And then I realized it is a legendary. I'll give you a hint. It's a legendary within the first 3 generations, I believe. Yeah. And once I realized this aspect about this Pokemon, I was like, oh, that's it. That's game over, dude. Like, this is the most obvious choice. And but even if that one fact wasn't even true, I would have been like, I probably might have chose this Pokemon anyways, just because it really fits Zelda, I feel. And I did an illustration and an animation. And the reason I'm super tired as shit today and have been, burning the candle at both ends was I had a lot of other stuff. Obviously, I work every day, freelance, translating and typesetting, doing lettering and stuff for comics and webtoons. And on top of all that, I try and finish what I need to finish for the day as quick as possible, essentially, and then start working on art stuff. And this week was special because I had 2 other kind of like requests, kind of commissions from friends come in. Essentially, I had 2 extra things come my way, and I had a lot on my plate, so it was hard to try and finish everything. And I was making this animation. It's pretty simple. I'm not going crazy on any of these animations, but there's at least, like 4 or 5 moving parts. And I think it was Thursday night, I was going to sleep and I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this, man. Like, I think this week I'm just going to have to cancel the animation and just do the illustration, and I'll just do some like motion effects on top, or just throw a bokeh light filter or something in motion or on Final Cut. Like, I'm considering biting the bullet and getting After Effects, because I know there's a ton of cool shit I can do. Motion is alright, like Apple Motion, but there's not a lot of tutorials for stuff because everyone just fucking uses After Effects, and it's like, I really don't want to pay for the subscription. I really don't, but I might. But either way, I was sitting there like, okay, I'll just scale it back, because I was tired as shit, and I had barely even just finished the illustration that night. And then I woke up, I got my work done on Friday, and I was just like, okay, I gotta just do this animation. Let me just see. And I started it, and I remembered a few things. Thank you, shout out to Clip Studio Paint. If you want to just like move an object, like a folder, like a character on the X or Y axis, or really whatever, like if you want to create a motion, it's really easy to do it with just on the timeline. You create like keyframes and just move it to where you want to go. I know this is pretty common function in a lot of other softwares as well, but Clip Studio's way of doing it is super easy to use, and you can just like have everything in one folder, and then I can just make that, because so Zelda and the Pokemon are kind of like floating, like going up and down, and I was like, at first I forgot about that keyframe, like kind of like it tweens it for you. It's like in betweening it's creating the motion for you. I'm not actually animating them physically going up and down, which I forgot that I wasn't going to need to do that, and I could still make it look good by just using keyframes. And once I kind of remembered that and figured out how I was going to do some of the coloring and stuff, I was like, okay. Like, I know I kind of talked about this before, but and if you're an artist, like, let me know if you do this too, where it's like, it's fucking 1:30 in the morning, I need to be asleep, and I'm just sitting there, like, literally in my head, I'm seeing Clip Studio Paint open, and I'm like looking at the folders and like, okay, if I move this in here, if this layer goes here, if this is a multiply layer, I can put this on top, and then if I take this, I put this folder here, and then I take those folders, I group them, and then I'll use this grouped folder and put the keyframe on there, and I can move it up and down, like shit like that. I'm just like, it's like the fucking Matrix, where I'm like, I'm a very visual person, so that's kind of how I think about stuff too. And once I remembered that and I could kind of do that, I was like, okay, and on Friday, I started working on it, and I managed to finish. I think I finished everything for the animation Friday in like 3 or 4 hours probably. God damn, was I tired. Definitely went and played a little bit of Zelda after that, and just other shit, and kind of reworking some of the other work that I gotta do and stuff too. It's just a ton of shit. And all of that ton of shit is just to say that I'm really glad that I pushed myself and I made myself do it. Because like I said, the main topic of today is me kind of talking about like the power of forcing yourself to finish something, and the power of habits, the power of like positive, productive habits, right? And the reason I made this deadline for myself is because first, it started with, okay, I'm going to do 3 to 4 videos of these like 8 to 10 minute YouTube videos. And it's going to be either the Pokemon What If, or I have 1 or 2 other ideas, but they're all going to be kind of similar. And it's going to be kind of like using the drawing or animation, talking over it, and like incorporating it simply into how the video is laid out. And then after that, I realized, because before, I've said this before as well, I'm sorry, but before I had a schedule made for myself where I was thinking every other week is going to be a new main channel video. And every week is Doodle Talk, and then every other week will be a video like the What If Pokemon, or the Pokemon Challenge, a video memory challenge one that I made, or OC model sheet, right? And I just felt like I could push it a little bit harder, and I was like, okay, so should I maybe then I do 10 every 10 days? That way it's like almost 2 weeks, but you could still knock out 3 in a month, which is actually something I'm thinking about going to, a schedule I'm thinking about going to. But then I remembered, like, okay, I want it to come out on the same day. So I'm shooting right now is like shooting for every Monday in Japan. So like it's probably Sunday to Monday in the States is when you're going to see me posting these like regular videos for the next couple of weeks. And it's so hard. It's so hard to force deadlines onto yourself when there is no one actually holding you accountable. And that's why I wanted to like talk about this week, because it's like, holy shit, is it so hard to force deadlines on yourself. It's so funny because when you work at a job that's like whatever, it can be corporate, it can be business, it can be like when I was a teacher at a school, when you have things like, and if I don't get up in the morning and go to work, I'm not going to get paid. I'm going to, lose my house or whatever. Like, it seems so simple, right? And it's like obvious. Yeah, of course. If you don't go to work, you don't get paid. If you don't get paid, you don't eat. Eventually, like down the line, like you end up dying because of this thing, right? So it's eventually becomes pretty dire. And it's really funny because it seems so obvious and so easy when you have a boss like or like a deadline enforced by a company, right? When I was not freelancer, when I was working full time at this company on the localization team doing Japanese to English translation and proofreading, and kind of I was essentially a director, like an assistant director and then a director. You know, you have these crazy deadlines and you cannot miss them, because on top of the client needing it by then, we're talking about publishing companies in Japan. So if you don't know about, like, if you've ever heard of the people who make manga, like the mangaka in Japan, especially for like Shonen Jump and some of these big ones, you probably know that like they work ridiculous hours, and it's all just to make sure they meet the deadlines that are imposed on them, so people can get so they get it into the magazine, and then people can read it when it comes out in the shelves of the konbinis every week, the convenience stores, right? And Japan is already like a don't fuck this up, otherwise you're gonna have to like apologize profusely and like basically humiliate yourself. Like that's kind of the way the society works, especially in the work culture. And it's maybe gotten a little bit better over the past decades, but I really don't think so. Kind of just depends where you work now. Where I worked was actually a little bit more lenient, although it was only more lenient within our company, in-house. Like we didn't have to like do as much like corporate speak. Like you could be a little bit more free and open and be yourself. But when it came to like working with clients and shit like that, it's crazy. Like you have deadlines, you cannot miss them, and you're gonna work 60 hours a week if it's what it takes to make sure you meet those deadlines, whether it's your fault or not. And you're not going to complain, and you're not going to get paid. Well, yeah, you kind of get paid overtime, but you're not going to get paid a lot extra for your work. It's going to be basically illegal what they're doing to you. And that shit's scary. And that is a deadline that you do not want to miss. That is a deadline you're not going to miss, and you're going to lose sleep. You're going to have bad habits, and you're going to be overall less healthy because of it. So if you're someone who wants to go to Japan and work in a company like that, just be forewarned that like most companies are pretty fucked. And that's just like a little extra tip, extra little shout out there. I want to talk about this more in depth in a different video, but that's not today. That was just to explain, to show, right? Like, let's take an American office example, right? Where it's probably a little bit more relaxed and can be, I'm sure, still really super stressful, terrible work environments, people harassing you, bosses harassing you. They're going to make sure you get that done, right? So even if you have a cushy job, but like, oh, I got to show up, I got to do this, I got to do that. When you are a freelancer and you're just doing all this art and this stuff, it doesn't have to be art. When you're your own boss, if you have your own company, if you have your own business, you have to be the one who gets up in the morning and makes yourself get out of bed, and you have to force these deadlines, these habits that you need to form. And I just want to, while this feeling is still fresh, the feeling of like, God, that sucked, but I'm so glad I forced myself to do it. And like, look, this is just the second week of this, right? So I'm already thinking about like, okay, that felt really good. I'm so glad I did that, but maybe I need to scale things back a little bit. Like the next video is not going to be an illustration and an animation. It's going to be a different kind of like topic of a video. But the next time I do a what if Pokemon video like that, I might not do an illustration and an animation. I might just do one or the other. I might do, like I said, where it's an illustration with some cool like motion effects on top, or like just one like small animated element that I might even be able to do like outside of it and just drag and drop, something like that, right? It felt good. What I'm trying to say is it felt great to accomplish that, but I'm already seeing like, okay, I need to be careful, otherwise I don't think I'll be able to stick to this. So basically what I'm trying to say is, by doing the weekly podcast, the weekly Doodle Talks, and forcing, for now, myself into the weekly one more YouTube video, I mean, let's go over the pros and cons, right, as I'm seeing it. This is kind of how I'm seeing it. Obviously, the pros are all like, you're producing more stuff, you're practicing more, you're getting more stuff out there, you're hopefully getting more views, more attention, more followers, more subscribers. Hopefully, you're getting closer towards the goal that you'd like to achieve. And that's all great and everything, but then you look at the cons, and it's like, you might reach burnout, and then you just don't want to do it anymore, or you could be sacrificing stuff, other relationships in your life, or other, things that you need to be doing, or your other work and stuff like that. So you have to be careful, right? But the thing for me is, like, so far the good is outweighing the bad, because I'm very careful about the kind of like healthy relationships and taking care of what needs to get taken care of, and then having the time and energy for art stuff. I try very hard at that, and I think I'm pretty successful for the most part. I'm in a situation, my life is in a certain way that I can like end up sacrificing a lot of my own, like, just time and effort and dedication. I hopefully normally don't really affect the people around me, right? But that's just partly because I've made it so that I am able to do that. But one of the things I wrote down and was thinking about is, like, by forcing this rigid schedule on myself, like, yeah, it was really difficult and it was really hard, but probably the most beneficial thing for me is, like, not even thinking about like the views and the likes and stuff like that. Is like, I've been sitting down and drawing and editing and making creative little fun little videos and stuff, like, tenfold more than I would have been if I wasn't doing this. And that's partly why, like, I said, like, I went from a bi-weekly to weekly for the regular YouTube videos, because I felt like I had that little bit extra time, that little bit of, like, if I just push myself a little bit more, I think I could do it. I just have to make it so that I'll be able to make it in a manageable way, make these videos in a reasonable time frame, right? Make the videos themselves reasonable. But I just started making so much shit. Like, first of all, just these Doodle Talks, I'm just putting myself out there. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But now, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy just talking about shit. It kind of helps me as well. So if you're listening, I hope it helps you as well. And for the other videos, like, I've made at least 4 or 5 animations in the past, like, month or two, where before it was like maybe every couple months I'd make like a little animation. Not only that, is when I started doing a lot of the piano, because I did a piano piece for the we did some music for the Zelda animation. I can't believe I forgot to even talk about this. So I laid down the piano, and then I sent it over to my friend Tim, and then Tim chopped it up and made like a sick little beat. We both like lo-fi beat kind of style and stuff, so it's not that hard to make. So I did like a traditional piano, just solo piano recording, and then I did some other stuff that I gave to him, and he made a sick track. So check that out. Look out for that for the animation. It's basically, the animation will be looped and that will be playing, and I'm probably going to do some other stuff with that, because I'm really happy with how that turned out. We were both really stoked on it. But look right there too, like, playing music, playing piano, practicing shit more, because I'm like, I need to do this for this video, so I gotta practice it. And it's just like, when you create these forced deadlines and these things that you have to do, there is no failure, there is no like not getting there. You have to do it. If you're able to successfully implement that into your own schedule and follow through on it, if you're dedicated enough to just force yourself to get up and do that thing, you're gonna see yourself just improve so much on top of everything else. So if you are worried about the views and the followers and the subscribers, that's great, because that stuff will probably come from that. But I think the main benefit that I've been seeing from like just forcing myself to have this kind of schedule that I have right now is just seeing the improvement, sitting down and actually just creating way more than I have been in the past couple of years, and just finding myself still having fun during the process. I think that's kind of the most surprising thing, is half the time, if I'm doing other freelance work or whatever, anything else, 90% of the time, then I'm just thinking, man, I wish I could be animating right now, or man, I wish I could be making this video or drawing this drawing, right? And that is a really good sign, I think, for having the passion to just continue. And it's there right now. We'll see if it dries up, because that's always possible, right? But for now, I'm feeling good about it, and it's all thanks to this schedule that I'm forcing myself into doing. And yeah, I've talked about schedules a little bit in the past, but I didn't talk about it in this vein, where it's like, yeah, man, like up to the point where you're gonna reach burnout, go back a little bit, and then just keep pushing. Just keep pushing. Keep pushing yourself to almost the brink, and then pull it back. Give yourself a week off where it's like, okay, instead of 4 videos a month, I'm only gonna do 3. Like, find little things to keep yourself fresh and revitalized and energized. But push it, man. If you're an artist like me, if you're a freelancer, if you're somebody who's trying to do a creative endeavor, try this out for the next month, because this is what I'm doing this month. Try this out. The original goal that you set for yourself for like how many things, what content, how many of XYZ you were going to make and put out there, up it. You don't have to double it or anything like that. Just up it a little bit. Up it. So like that point where you're like, I can probably make this much, just go a little bit further. Go a little bit further and then hold yourself accountable. Do not let you tell yourself no. Do not let you scale things back. Do not let yourself scale things back and just simplify it, or like, I just won't do that then. Just push it. Okay? Try it. Try it out. Try it out. See what happens. And I will keep updating you guys on my thing while not blabbing on too much about it. I'll just keep it going for the next couple weeks. I'll let you know how it's going. But that is going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I hope you can make a nice schedule for yourself, hold yourself to it, and I hope you see the rewards. And I hope if you're like me and you're trying to get on that YPP, that you get those 500 subs real quick. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.